years.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Gregg's Vintage Workshop, where I'm restoring history one piece at a time. Tonight we're going to be looking at part 4 of the Philco 7070 signal generator, and we're going to try and get this wrapped up. In part 4, I go ahead and reassemble the signal generator. However, I encounter a problem. I'm not going to spoil it for you. You're going to have to see for yourself what the problem was and how I resolved it. Other thing I did in part 4 was I created a new Philco faceplate tag, I guess you would call it. It was missing on this, and I had to go online and kind of do some research. All I could find was a little black and white image, but I created one. I think it turned out pretty good, so we'll see that. And then after we get this all put together, we will hook it up to my frequency counter, and we will see what this thing does. So stay tuned, get a hold of your seat, get yourself a drink, and let's get started. So I wanted to show you guys something that I did for this signal generator. I don't know if you can tell here or not, but one of the things I did do was I have this liquid chrome pen that I bought on Amazon. This is it. And I went ahead and I touched up that spot there that had gone through the brass. And I mean, you can tell it's there obviously, but at least now it's silver, and I think a little bit better than it was. So anyway, we're going to leave it at that. But that's not what I wanted to show you here. So the original badge, Philco badge that was there, was missing. And the only reason I had any idea at all what it looked like was on this manual, because there's no really good pictures on the internet that I could find. I could see that it was oval shaped, just like this. And I could see that it looked like it was put a white Philco on a black background. And I was trying to figure out how I could try and make that. Haven't never done something like that before. And so I'm going to put some pictures up as I'm telling you this story. But basically what I did was I took a piece of aluminum, big flat round aluminum that I had. It was about a 1/16 of an inch thick, maybe an 1/8 of an inch thick, somewhere in there. And I cut the shape after I had kept trying it, trial fitting it on the metal till I had it where I thought it looked right. So once I had that, then I epoxied a dowel to the back of my plate, and then proceeded to epoxy the piece of paper that said Philco on to that. And once that had set up, I took more epoxy and poured over the top of it, and it was kind of yellowish and not be able to see through it. So I tried taking my heat shrinker gun, and put some heat to it, and it cleared it up. So anyway, this is the final result. My Philco badge, it's got some depth. That's what I was trying to do, is get some depth with the epoxy. So now I'm going to epoxy that onto that, and we have our Philco badge back. It's not perfect, but there's one on there, and it'll make it look a little closer to the original. You see both. So again, it's not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out, and thought I'd show you that. Okay, there it is, epoxied in place. It turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Make it from scratch, having never done that before. And I think that the silver actually doesn't look bad either. You know, depending upon the way the light hits it. So, anyway, this is about time to start buttoning this thing up. I just got through installing my tubes into the main unit. Got the new 6C4 on there, which I have to tell you, I did then, after, you remember on the first test when I tested the 6C4 and I couldn't get, the heater element was lit but I couldn't get anything else. After the fact, after I ordered all the tubes, I decided to put it on my Precision 912, and it did actually test on that one. It tested bad, but at least it did show up in tests, so I still needed to replace it anyway. So there's the new 6C4, there's the new 7F8, and there's the new 6X5 down inside there. So next thing I got to do is get the cover, which I've got the cover right here. Get the cover on this, which means I have to take these nuts loose. Down here I got to take that loose, and which is inside that cover. So let me go ahead and take that stuff loose so I can get it on the face where it belongs. So Houston, we have a problem. As you can see, I got everything populated. Everything's on here. Everything looks great. Oh my goodness, this works like silk. This moves so easy. No more slippage. No nothing. It just works so nice. But you see, my holes don't line up. Guess why the holes don't line up? This is as far as it goes right there. I'll give you a hint. Begins with an F. F-U-S-E. Yep, believe it or not, as big as this case is, with everything plugged in properly, transformer is hitting the fuse. I know it's hard to believe with all this real estate in here, and it's certainly hard for me because I didn't see that coming. The only thing I can think to do is going to be to see if I can relocate that transformer, shift it down this way, the thickness of that fuse, which will be about right here. There's real estate in there for it. There's room for it to do that. But that means I got to get it up out of the way to do, I'm sure the opening here is going to have to be slotted. A lot of work to go there. I don't see a better solution. All right, let me bring you back. I got to get this figured out. Okay, crisis averted. I got that cut out and I shifted it over about 3/8 of an inch. You can see a little bit of a gap there. That's really the only way you can tell I did this. But everything else fit like a dream. It's not as obvious from an angle here, but we know it's that way. But that was the only way I was putting that fuse in there, so let me get this thing flipped over. Okay, let's go ahead and get this back into the cabinet. Carefully. Get my plug plugged in. There we go. And there we go. And get my screws. Lots of screws. I'm not going to make you guys sit and watch me put all of these screws in. I'll either zip through it super fast, or I will just cut it out and come back when I got them all in there. A lot of screws. These are stainless steel screws too, so we don't have to worry about them rusting again. There it is. Okay, I'll get this set up. Another radio. Let's see what it does. I was going to show you guys this too. I didn't put a BNC jack in here. I didn't want to change that piece of originality for it. So what I did was I took this adapter that I had made for my Heath kit, and I took a piece of aluminum nail, stripped it all down, cleaned it all up, and just crammed it down in there, and that makes contact with it. I plan on getting something better, probably like a piece of stainless steel, but for now that's what I'm using. That's how I was connecting up with the frequency counter. Alright, let's get this thing stood up and we will see if we can do some radio checks here with it. And let's resituate the camera. Okay, we're going to see if we can check the accuracy of this a little bit. Right now I've had it warming up for about 20 minutes, so let's turn the dial down here, and we're going to put it on, let's see, put it on A band. I'm sorry, and no, it's the little inner blue one here, and I'm hoping you're going to be able to see the dial okay. Should be able to see that okay. Get my attenuation turned up some, about midways. Let's see what we get here. It'll be about 105. Alright, so that should be about 105 on the dial. It looks like it's 103. Take it up to 115-ish. 113. And round it on up to 125. It's about 125, 128. Right up to 160, 158, and I don't know, let's go up to 200, best as I can see it there. It's about 198. Good. Excuse my head, but I gotta see, looks like that's about 250. 247, take it on up to 300. 298. Okay, so the A band is fairly close. Alright, so now let's take it up to the B band, which is the red one right here. And see what we got. Take it to 300 first. It looks about like 300, 297, 320, 316, go to 350, 346, go to 400, 396, go to 450, might as well take it to 455 so we can see where we are there. It's about 455 and 452. Take it up to 600. And we're 591, starting to drift out further. Go up to 700, 689, and 787. It's really drifting out the higher we go, so this one's obviously going to need some adjustment. And there's 900 and we're 887. Okay. So let's take it to the C band. And on the C band, this is going to be about 900, about right here. Not even close to 900. Let's take it up to 1,000. Jumping around there, huh? I'm messing with the attenuator right now. Let's take it on up to 1,200, 1,400. $1,600, 13, and let's go up to 2,000, 17, and we'll go 2,500. Nope, not even close. 3,000, right around there. Okay, so those definitely need adjusted. All right, how about the D band, which is this inner one right here, the inner red one. Let's see where we at. And that should be 3, 2.5. There's 3.5, 4, 5, 6. And let's run it all the way down here. There's 9. It's 10.5. Yep, so they're all off. I have to go in there and do some adjustments. Let me get that set up. Okay, getting ready to make adjustments on this Philco 7070. I've got my camera set up, so hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. These trim pots back here are for A, B, C, D, and E. There's a trim pot here for F. Up here, I've tried to get it where you guys can see the dial pointer. And then of course my frequency counter there. So the power's on, it's been warming up for about 10, 15, 20 minutes now, probably about closer to 15, 20 minutes. It took me a while to get my camera set up. I've had to put a piece of cardboard, as you see right here. That's the shade over here, so that hopefully you guys can see the frequency counter better. So we're going to start with A. I think A is pretty close anyway, but I got to get where I can see it. So excuse me if I do block your view. So let's see. So we're going to go to A, which is the first one here. Let's move it up to 105. I'm not being able to see this straight on like you guys are, so I'm thinking that's about 105 from what I can see. It looks like 105. And see if I can turn that just a little bit better. Yeah, it's pretty close to 105, I think. All right. Try this again. 103, 104. the screw the head here. Head of the screw. There we go. It doesn't want to do 105. I don't want to go too far out of alignment with it, though. Let's move it to something else. See if I've gotten it way off. Let's go to, let's say, 120. There's about 120. Yeah, 119.8. That's pretty darn close. I'm bumping you guys. There's 121, 119, 120. Right on 120. Alright, so let's go to 140. So on 140, let's go to 180 maybe. 180, right about there's 180. Let's go back a little bit, go forward a little bit. 181. Okay, let's try 250. That's about 250 there. So 253. We're going to back it up, come back. 250. 251. I think I'm getting a little of that paradox or whatever they call that. It might be off a little bit. And go on up to 300. This is 306, 307, 305. That's 30. It says, when I can see that's 300. Let's see if I can back this adjustment back off some. And how much it messes up everything else. The screw, 308, 307, I'm at 300. Concerned that I go too far, then everything else is going to be thrown off. But let's take it, let's line up 300 and see how far off everything else is. When I was reading, you're actually supposed to set them up on the higher end. There's 300. 299, 300. Alright, so it looks like 300 there. Let's go down to 200. That's 200. Yeah, that's 200, so that's on 200. Let's go to 160 maybe. Yeah, that's about 160 right there, so that's right on the money. Alright, let's go 120, 130. 129. That's pretty darn lined up there for 130. Let's go 115. 114. 1477. Go past, come back. 15. 115. It drops right there. You can see the line's pretty much lined up. I'm not going to lose any sweat over that one. And let's see, so this is about 105. 105 right there. That's pretty darn close. I'm going to go with that. Alright. So now let's go to the B band. Alright. B-band's where I'm probably going to be living most of the time. So I want to get my 455 set up. And that's 450 on the dial. That's 452 there. And it's about 455 on the dial. It's 456 there. 458. 452, 453. That's 455 on the dial. Alright, let's see if we can get that one to 455. I usually use my frequency counter in conjunction with the, if I can get back in that slot, in conjunction with the signal generator too, so I can be more accurate that way. Alright, so that's 455. With 455 on my dial. Let's see how far off everything else is now. That's about 500. 499, 500 is close. There's 600. 600's off quite a bit. 591, 594. That's 700. Yeah, getting way off. I guess I better try and do it by the upper limits. Let's do 600. Let's set it up to 600. And then we'll see where our 455 falls out. So 600, that's 600, 604, 601, 600, 599. If you go past and you come back and you come past, it pretty much lines right up. That's 600. All right, and let's see how far off 800 is. Yeah, the higher end's still pretty far off. Pretty far off. All right, let's go to the C-band. C-band looks like it's all over the place. About 1600 there. We're at trying to go between 1.4 and 1.5. Let's see if C-band will do any adjustment. I may have to clean these trim pots up a little bit. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to clean these trim pots up some. It's kind of flaky. So, all right. There's 2000 and it's flickering 1.8 something. 2500 and about 2. All right, so we're doing a little bit more work on that one. Let's see what D-band. So we've been aligning, we've been checking alignment, and we're going through all of the bands. I've shown you A, B, and C. Because this is so boring, and because I have edited the living daylights out of the film in order to try and keep it from being so boring, I'm going to not show you the rest of it. You're just going to have to take my word for it that I have checked and aligned the rest of the channels after the A, B, and C. Because I did, but oh my gosh, when I was editing this video, I decided it was way too much. So we were going to have an hour-and-a-half long video of me twisting a dial and going 455, 470, etc. So I'm going to stop this piece here now and we will move on. Okay, let's turn this on. I'll turn the power on. There we go. Turn the radio on. Alright, so I have the radio on 670. It's a station out of Chicago that once in a great while I get. So that's on 670, here's 600, here's 700, 670 is going to be about right there. Down 2 scores, you got to take a shot, even force it into coverage, and it was really a good throw. Daniels could have made that catch, but Miller does a great job of jumping up and smashing it at the highest point and making the game-ending play with that interception. Andy Reid just stopped the game right there. Pretty much right on 670. What a game. What an amazing Super Bowl 54. So, obviously Super Bowl 54 is long gone, but that's what they were doing a replay on that particular station, apparently. Now, the way I was doing this was I have a little loop antenna that I hooked up to the signal generator. And that's what I was inducing the signal with. So, anyway, that's the little Sportmate I got from Bill, the old 64 goat. And it works good for me to test stuff out like this. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching the Philco 7070 signal generator get restored. I'm going to put some pictures up for you guys, some before and after. That'll show up here in a few seconds. I want to thank everybody that has subscribed to my channel. I hope that you enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed doing this, and I hope everybody's staying safe out there and staying healthy. Get through this time together. If you haven't hit like and subscribe, and you're not a subscriber, you can hit the little subscribe button over to the right. There should be a video that'll pop up on the upper left. It's one I would recommend that you guys can take a look at. And so I think we're going to call this done, at least for now. And I thank you for watching Gregg's Vintage Workshop, where I'm restoring history one piece at a time.